Hello, my friends, and welcome back. I'm so thankful that you are here today. So, we're going to be going over one of the most important concepts on the social studies test, and that is checks and balances. I've gone over many practice tests and reviewed this many times with my students, and they agree this is the most important concept on the social studies test. So, if you're new here, click subscribe. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. And old friends, welcome back. Give this video a thumbs up to let me know that you're here and you want more content just like this. Okay, friends, on with the video. Let's go learn about checks and balances. So, friends, really, checks and balances is just the understanding of how each branch of government keeps the others in check. We want to make sure that not one single branch overpowers the others and that they are all equal. Now, checks and balances ensures that no single branch of government becomes too powerful. And really, each branch has some measure of influence over the other branches. And that's why they're checking on each other and making sure that it is all balancing out together. So a little bit of historical context for you. Checks and balances was developed by our founding fathers of the United States of America to prevent tyranny. And it's not actually said, Article 3, Section B of the Constitution has checks and balances. No, friends, it is actually implied throughout the United States Constitution. So you may be wondering what tyranny is. So tyranny is absolute rule by either one ruler or a small group. And with this comes suppression of individual freedoms and rights. This type of government is telling you exactly what you have to do, when and where, and you really don't have those freedoms that we have here in the United States. There's also a lack of accountability. Some examples of tyranny include ancient Rome, as well as modern dictatorships. We have here the three branches of government. And one thing that's important to know is not one branch is more important than the other. These branches are all equal. So first we have the legislative branch, which makes the laws. And that consists really of Congress. Next, we have the executive branch, which enforces those laws. And that would be the president. And finally, the judicial branch interprets the laws. And friends, that is the Supreme Court. Now let's take a deeper dive into each of these branches and how they work together. First here we have the legislative branch, which creates laws and the budget. Now friends, this is really important for you to know because if you are in an adult education program, it's going to be federally funded. And how is it funded? Through the budget that the legislature agrees to. So we want to make sure that our legislature knows about adult education so that they keep funding our programs, right? The legislative branch consists of Congress, which has the Senate and the House of Representatives. Now, as a reminder, friends, the Senate has 100 members. So each of the 50 states has 2 senators. The House of Representatives, on the other hand, is based on population. There are 435 members. Larger states like California have a larger amount of representatives. California actually has 52 representatives. Whereas other states, Colorado has 8, and some states like Delaware, Montana, North Dakota have just 1 representative. The powers of the legislature include declare war. Friends, you heard that right. It is not the president that declares war. It is the legislature. They also approve treaties and impeach officials. Okay, my friends, we are halfway through. If you have not had a chance to click the link below and grab this free PDF worksheet that goes along with one of my other social studies videos, take the time to do this right now. Your future self will thank you. Oh, did I mention it's free? Moving on to the executive branch, which implements and enforces laws. It consists of the president and vice president, as well as federal agencies. With powers, we have the president as the commander-in-chief, or our head military leader. The executive branch also negotiates treaties and issues executive orders. And our final branch is the judicial branch, which interprets laws and ensures they align with the Constitution. The judicial branch consists of the Supreme Court as well as lower federal courts. And this branch is important because they review the laws, they settle disputes between states. Okay, I like to think about the judicial branch as maybe a mom or a dad. Okay, so here we have two states arguing. Let's say we have Wisconsin is arguing with Alabama. So the judicial branch, the Supreme Court, they settle the dispute just like a parent would over those two states. The judicial branch also protects our individual rights as citizens, human beings here in the United States. Now, as we know, there's separation of powers. So each branch takes a look at and keeps an eye on the other branch. Beginning with the legislative branch checking in over the executive branch. The legislative branch can override presidential vetoes with a 2/3 majority vote. So the legislative branch comes up with a bill. If half of them agree, they send it on to the president. The president either agrees or vetoes and says, I don't think so. And then it can go back to the legislature. If 2/3 agree to it, then yes, it becomes law. The legislative branch can also confirm or reject presidential appointments. And they can impeach the president. Okay, what is impeach? So impeaching is the formal process where sitting president is accused of misconduct. Oftentimes people think that impeach is getting rid of the president, but it's not. It's the process, and it starts with the president being accused of misconduct. So here's the process. The House files some articles or paperwork. The Senate holds a trial. If there's a 2/3 majority vote, then the president is removed from office. So far, we have had 3 presidents be impeached. So Andrew Johnson, Bill Clinton, and Donald Trump. However, none of the 3 presidents have gone through the entire process to be removed from office. The legislative branch keeps an eye on the judicial branch, and they do so by confirming the judicial appointments. So that means when the president appoints someone to be on the judicial branch, the legislature has to confirm it. They can also impeach judges, not just presidents, but also judges. And the legislative branch can propose amendments to the Constitution. Now, a little refresher on what the word amendment means. So really, it's just a change or addition to the Constitution or other legal documents. And amendments are going to be really important because they reflect the changing values and needs that we have in our country today. And friends, my favorite amendment is the 19th Amendment, which gave women the right to vote. Now we have the executive branch keeping an eye on the legislative branch. So the executive branch can veto the bills, say, I don't think so, about the bills that the legislative tries to pass through. And they can also call special sessions of Congress. So Congress is not in session all the time. They have what's called recess. So imagine in school, you're in session for school, and then you have little breaks. You have recess, right? So if the legislative branch is on recess, the president can call them back in for a special session. And such reasons might include the declaration of war, Because remember, it's the legislative branch that declares war, not the president. Also, perhaps an economic crisis, natural disaster, or potentially a national security issue. So now we have the executive branch checking in on the judicial branch. So the executive branch appoints the federal judges as well as grant pardon. So I like to think about granting pardon like giving a little bit of grace. So maybe by correcting injustices, granting mercy, or maybe they need to grant pardon for something that is national interest. The judicial branch checks in on the executive branch by declaring executive actions as unconstitutional. All right, the judicial branch checks in on the legislative branch by declaring laws unconstitutional. Friends, we made it to the end. Great job. I hope that you have a more thorough understanding of checks and balances because it's one of the most important concepts that you have got to understand. Okay, so I have a bonus for you. If you have really studied this up and you have understood the concepts, then next week, unless you're watching this in the future, then right now I have a video for you that actually quizzes you. I like to call it my branch check challenge. Okay, so definitely go check out that video that is right up here. Okay, or maybe it's right here. I don't know. Okay, friends, thank you so much for being here. Believe in yourself just like I believe in you, and I will catch you in the next video.